planning to pay tribute to Fernando at the World Series, which starts Friday. You pointed out there's a lot of stuff going on throughout Southern California this week. A lot of people want to know what the weather's going to look like.
Yes, and you know what? If this was next week, then we would have weather possibly impacting some of those outdoor events. But this week overall, it's quiet. I'm so happy about that. So let's take a look at what's happening. We do have this area of high pressure that's in control of our forecast. That's the reason during the afternoon, you'll notice it's sunny and it is hot. Today is going to be the hottest day of the week because of this area of high pressure. And in the coming days, the temperatures will come down a few degrees, but we will still see the presence of that high pressure system with temperatures that are going to run above normal. Here is the view over at LAX, the pylons in blue. Of course, remembering Fernando Valenzuela. And you know what? I think this is going to be inspiring as we head into this World Series. And, you know, just let's win, guys. Temperatures this morning, they are fresh. We've got 50s and 60s. And look at what's in store for us this afternoon. Very different. 70s at the coast, inland, temperatures in the 80s and 90s. Not quite feeling like October or fall, but coming up, we'll take a look at that 7-day forecast to see when things change. Right now, though, big issues on the road. Here's Robin.
Yes. Oh, it's a mess, Belen. Here's a live look from the 101. We told you it was a mess. It's because of a broken water main that has caused flooding on the freeway. The 101 at 4th Street, we have water, debris, mud scattered across lanes. You see crews over here, in addition to Caltrans, are trying to figure out how to clean this up. Now, on the southbound side, which is closest to the right side of your screen, you notice that there's no traffic getting through at all. We're still waiting for an estimated time of clearing. It's a process. But if you look over to the left, that is the northbound commute. The headlights, all northbound lanes are open right now. So at least you're able to get through. But once again, this traffic alert remains in place. They've been dealing with this since 1:30 this morning. And this is going to have a huge impact on your commute heading into and out of East LA. So start thinking about those alternate routes. You have several options. There's Mission, there's Soto, there's the 10 instead of the 101. Definitely consider that. And then we also have the 110. I was referring to this as an alternate route earlier, but we also have a car fire at the 3rd Street on-ramp that's blocking all lanes of the on-ramp right now. So you will encounter some delays there too. I have another big problem in Riverside. We'll get to that later. We'll check the 60 coming up next. Adrian, back to you.
When you're like 2-3 days out, so we're wondering, Friday, how's it looking for game 1?
I could not be more perfect. And as I mentioned before, I'm really happy that our weather this week overall is quiet because there's a lot going on. But no doubt, this is the big event. World Series Game 1, Dodgers against the Yankees. It is going to be a who's who out there. First pitch, 74 degrees at 5:08, and I would bring a sweater or a jacket because by the end of the game, the temperatures are going to be cooling to around 63 degrees. Now, amigos, earlier you heard Adrian talk about red tide at the coast and how we need to stay out of the water. The conditions out there are really icky, but at night, that red tide is turning shades of blue. Look at this picture from Pixelate Photography at Venice Beach. We're out there in the distance. You could see those blue crashing waves. How does this happen? How do we get light in the waves? Well, this is a phenomenon known as bioluminescence. And what it is, it's light produced by living organisms. And that living organism is phytoplankton bloom. And we're seeing it during the day as red tide. Now, how does it start to flash blue? Well, that is actually a defense mechanism, light that's given off when this living organism is jostled or when it is moved around. Now, they're very tiny cells, and believe it or not, they can only flash a few times each night, but because we just have a bloom and so many of them, we are seeing night after night of that bioluminescence at the coast. Now, you can even see it from space. Look at this. This is satellite imagery of chlorophyll A concentration right along the coastal locations. And I know what you're thinking, chlorophyll. Isn't that in plants? Yes. And this algae bloom also uses chlorophyll. It uses the sunlight from the sun's energy to give it energy. And right now we have a high concentration of that chlorophyll right along the coast. So if you want to go at night to check out that bioluminescence, it looks like it's going to stick around for a while. Now during the day, hey, that might be a nice place to hang out because inland the temperatures are heating up. We've got highs in the 90s in the valleys in the Inland Empire, numbers that are above normal for this time of year by 5 to 10 degrees. 80s in the deserts, and 80s around the basin. Now, the weather the rest of the week will be slightly cooler, but you're really going to notice the difference on Sunday. So today, a high of 92 in Van Nuys, but by Sunday, 83 degrees. So it's going to be about 9 degrees cooler on Sunday. And then after that, we have more changes to talk about. So here's your 7-day forecast. Mid 80s today, low 80s all the way through Saturday. Then on Sunday, 70s, low 70s early next week. At the coast, we're going to see the marine layer expand each day and the temperature slowly come down as we head into the weekend. The forecast in the valleys and Inland Empire, 90s today, 80s tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, pretty similar. And then on Sunday, you see the drop to the low 80s, then 70s next week. The forecast in the deserts, we've got upper 80s, then mid 80s. Overall, looking like a nice weekend. In the low desert, we're going to go from 99 to almost 80s as we head into next week. And finally, in the mountains, you see temperatures don't change much through Sunday, but next week, highs will only be in the 50s and 40s. That's your forecast, everyone. Now, here's Robin. What's going on?
So many big trouble spots to talk about, Belen. We have this problem with flooding on the 101 rolling through East LA, a major closure in place, a traffic alert remains in place. And here's a live look from the scene. This is the southbound side of the 101 at 4th Street. It was caused by a broken water main on surface streets, and that water has spilled onto the freeway, causing flooding. There's mud, there's debris. Caltrans on scene. They're working on it. This was reported around 1:30 this morning, and at one point we had the whole freeway closed north and south. But as you can see here, as we zoom in, that is no longer the case. Southbound lanes closed, northbound lanes open, but do expect delays here in both directions. So that's going to throw you off a little bit as you work your way through East LA. If you're looking for an alternate route, you have several options. You can take the 110, you can take the 5. There's also Mission, there's Soto, several ways to get around this closure. Right now, the drive on the 10 between East LA and the 405 is under 15 minutes. The 101 under 15 minutes between the 5 and the 134 split. And the 110 looks good in both directions, under 15 minutes between the 405 and the 101. I have 2 more traffic alerts to talk about, so we'll check that coming up after the break. Stay with us.